the situation with Astroworld, that was devastating in itself. May all the victims rest in peace pertaining to Astroworld. You have concerts where there's malfunctions, there's failures, there's deaths that occur. I'm hoping pertaining to what is to come, Walmart, you know how there's when we have Christmas seasons. That's in fact what it remind me of, pertaining to when there's stampedes and people get killed and children get killed. And there, I remember there when I point to London, how stampedes happen when there's large crowds and all the rest. I remember years ago, I think in that late 80s, early 90s, where there was some event or something like that. It was a sports event where a stampede had occurred and there was children there, they were being lifted above so that they wouldn't get crushed to death or anything like that. The concert that happened, the Astroworld, was like that type of situation. Let's lift some of the victims. So, but some of them were in fact hurt by impact and stuff like that, because to be walking and crossing over people, as I say, people get stepped on, get smushed to death. That was the situation. But Europe had something like that. Once again, that happened years ago. And even Walmart, when they're shopping during the holiday seasons, they have that sort of thing. What is going on with the human mind, pertaining to when you're out somewhere and you're doing something and you're in an event? Why does it lead to tragedy when there's so many people? As in oftentimes the fault does lie on, say, the concert event holders, or where you're packed full of people. But sometimes these people, the common sense, we have to have common sense that if we're going to be at an event and we pack in and we're shoving and all the rest, right? People in fact can be killed. And yes, the event holders are responsible, and they were responsible. That's how people get killed when there's an event held and you have certain companies that allow so many people to pack together. That was this situation, the crushing to death, and even this young victim that I'm going to speak on got crushed to death, right? But for the people, the common sense, that is the event holders. Once the event is packed, or you have an event and it's crowded full of people, but even some of those people should look and think, no, how many of them were? They had the awareness, no, it's becoming too packed. Some of us need to escape or go this way or go that way so that we can in fact not be crushed to death or something. Sometimes certain things where the event holders or where the concert is held, even many of those people know too many people are in there, as in at the event. But people with common sense will know, let's not go stand over there, it's too crowded. They can, and sometimes the human senses will let them know, and people don't listen to their intuition. They go there, they pack with so many people, and then the crushing starts to occur where people get crushed to death, the stampede and all the rest, right? It's almost where humans in a sense are almost becoming like animals. We did that back in the cave days where we're not using our instincts. Every human has gut feeling. They have mind where you can feel this or that. Don't do this, and you're out in a crowd, but you're not listening to your instinct. You do stuff anyways, and that is too how people get crushed to death. The stampedes and stuff when you're out in the public and all that. Walmart, when they fight over the TVs. Well, there's not enough TVs, such and such bought this. Now they're at Walmart during the holidays fighting over stuff and people getting stepped on and getting killed. Not everybody listens to their intuition when they're in a crowded space or crowded places where there's concerts going on or live events. No, we shouldn't stand too close to this, and that too is on the fault of humans as well. Not on the fault of the victims completely, no. Some of that has to do with the crowds. You're packing into something and you can see that it's getting too packed. By then it's too late, but sometimes within you will tell you not to go in a certain direction, and you go in that direction anyways, or something like that, stampede. So there's a family, one of the youngest victims who was in attendance at Astroworld. One of the youngest victims, his family, right? The event we know was Astroworld, but the family rejected Travis Scott's offer to pay for the child's funeral. You've been rejected on paying for the child's funeral. The family basically said, no, we don't want that, right? The stampede at Astroworld is what led to the child's death. He was one of the victims that got stumped on and all the rest. So basically he died by ways of injuries. Before death, right, they placed him into a medical induced coma, and then he died later. He died from his injuries, right? But before Travis Scott's representative sent a letter to the child's family, a GoFundMe was started by the family to cover the child's medical expenses. Right before his death, they raised 100,000 in funds. That was his family, the GoFundMe, right? But when it comes to Travis Scott, that's what the story is about. You know, you have concerts, you have tickets, you have events, and all the rest, right? Travis Scott being the recording artist, the end of his own end, right? Once again, he offers to pay for the child's funeral expenses. Yet the child's family still stand by the lawsuit because the family had in fact filed a lawsuit against Travis. They filed a lawsuit against not only Travis but his record company, also his employees, and also Live Nation as well as NRG Park. That's in fact what the family filed a lawsuit against Travis Scott. They filed a lawsuit against his record company. Those are two different entities. They filed the lawsuit, the family. Did you hear what I said? That's two different entities. The family filed a lawsuit against not only Travis Scott, but they also filed a lawsuit against Travis Scott's business, which was his record company. He as a human is not the same as he is his business. The human runs the business, but when you file lawsuits, you can file the lawsuit in the direction of, I'm going to file a lawsuit not only the recording artist Travis Scott, but I'm also going to file a lawsuit against his recording business as well, his record business, his record company. So the family filed the lawsuit against Travis Scott, but they also filed the lawsuit against his record company because even that was involved in the crushing and all that, the stampede and all that. There's a reason why they filed the lawsuit against his company, probably to get more money pertaining to the child's injuries and the death and all that, right? There's pain once children die. Once children die and their parents start suing, sometimes the parent will start to sue everyone. The child above my head died. That's where family members start to sue everybody that was involved. They will just sue everything. That's what families do once their child is killed or something. They will sue everything and take money completely, right? Because that's for their own pain and grieving. So once again, the family sued Travis Scott. The family sued his record company. The family also sued the employees of Live Nation. There's something going on with the event where you guys should not have allowed the packing of so many people. But the family also sued NRG Park, the park itself, right? Hold an event somewhere. So not only did they sue the people who was over the event, that's Live Nation, that's who you buy your tickets from, they also sued the park in which the event was held, right? That's where families sue, because you would question, well, why did they sue Live Nation? Live Nation is involved in promotion and the tickets and all the rest. You would think a family more so, they're grieving, is why they sue. Families once again sue everyone, but you would think the family wouldn't sue Live Nation. In a sense, the family would sue the park. But to know that Live Nation through the event held the event, then the family in fact went for Live Nation. They were the event holders. They also got the venue, the area, the park and all that. That's why the family sued. But the family did not take Travis up on the offer pertaining to, they rejected him paying for the child's funeral, right? The family. So the family reject the pay for the child's funeral from Travis Scott, right? The family wants Travis to take responsibility over the tragedy because, in a sense, yeah, once you're a recording artist and all the rest, right? You're having events, all y'all have concerts and stuff like that. If the public don't fully know how to think for themselves, that's to think on the end of the public, as in that's why people sometimes look to famous people, singers and rappers. That's why, because sometimes when it comes to events, you're holding an event, but even Live Nation or the park itself wasn't completely doing things right. That is for the famous person on the stage to step on stage as he did and stop things, but the timing, have the timing right. When you're famous and you're on stage and people are starting to get crushed and everything, stop, as in get on the microphone and say, no, everybody stop moving. Some of that was said, but some of that was said too late, in a sense, right? So once you're the famous person, you get on the stage and you stop everything and all the rest so that people don't start getting killed. That's also why people look to famous people. No, the famous person, we look to them, and the famous person says, "Stop this" or "Stop that," right? And so Travis Scott, that's what the situation is. You're going to stop this event so people don't start getting crushed to death and getting killed. So it's people in the media and the public, people in the media and in the public took issue to the fact that they waited too long to stop, the show, the concert and stuff like that. They took issue to that because by then victims were already being killed. They're getting crushed to death, and yet the famous people on stage is waiting too long to say stop. Everybody in the public stop. Not only that, the park itself, how they handled the situation. So now you got the public upset, now you got these victims, and now you have the families of the victims suing in a sense. And many might feel in the public might feel that the family should sue because all how the event was held. The lack of responsibility on the end of possible security pertaining to the park, as in how packed you can in fact pack a space all at once. To pack too many people into a space is how people get crushed to death, and that's how the young child above my head got killed, right? But you can't because it's all parties involved. It goes back to what I said in the beginning of my video, the opening. You can think that the park is responsible, and you can think that Live Nation is responsible, but also the people are responsible. How some people don't want to take the blame of their own. They'll go to an event and know that you shouldn't pack into a space so much. That's part of the park's responsibility, but it's also the human's responsibility. Where many people, oftentimes not the victims, the other individuals that crushed them to death. The lack of common sense. Now it's getting so packed, even Walmart, I said that, it's getting so packed that now we're stepping on people, the stampede. People need to have common sense. But yeah, that is part of human awareness. No, don't pack into such a space where now people are starting to get killed. That's what happened. It's everyone's responsibility. We're on investigation I'm talking so fast. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to the video. We're on investigationdiscovery.com. The ID logo stands in the far corner. Live now. Murder comes to town. New episodes. See no evil. To gain access is to provide who you're subscribed to is padlocked down. You would in fact have access to that. Unlocked episodes. To receive an audio visual preview is to click the play button, and you would in fact receive that, both audio and video. Yes, so yeah, you don't want to be in somewhere where you guys are not having awareness that to stand in a packed environment does lead to people dying. The crushing aspect. What is going with human beings, not the victims, the individuals that killed them, the stampede and all that. What is going on with humans where you're not using your common senses of packing into an environment? Because it could lead to people getting killed. That's to say many of those people at the event didn't even have respect for some of them other people, because even some of them were even purposely stepping on people, not to kill them, but you're so packed in there, some of y'all just still walking. You don't see that you're crushing people to death. Where humans are becoming more like animals as time goes on. Even on the internet, I noticed that you can be at an event, people are getting crushed to death because they did that even at Walmart. They were walking on people. It was a stampede, and yet people were being killed and crushed, and yet those people were still walking on them. So that's to say that they had no care as they were crushing them to death. That's what this event consists of, or it did consist of, Astroworld. You not have enough care or respect for another human being. You're walking on them in public, and it's a stampede. That's what a stampede becomes. Now you're crushing people. You're almost like raging bulls. You're like raging bulls because you're ramming into people, and you don't care that you're ramming into people in a sense, right? Those people had no care. That's how people get crushed to death. That's not to say that all the victims were crushed by people that didn't really care, but it's something where humans are becoming like animals. You guys don't know that humans are becoming like animals? The stampede and crushing while a young boy just fell down. Many of them people fear to pick the child up, right? But even many of them, the lack of awareness. Accidents, even that's happening. Child falls down in the crowd, nobody's paying attention. Now childs get killed because they're being, but the animal aspect of it. You're stepping on children, but you're crushing them. And some people I've seen on video, even pertaining to Walmart, where people will fall down, people will step on them and then crush them and not care. Because video over at Walmart, law enforcement come involved and stuff, and then kids have fell down, grown people have fell down, people being killed, but humans not stopping the walking, the stampede, because once it starts to be over thousands of people in a stampede, sometimes there's no way to stop to pick up other people. That's how other people get killed, crushed to death. When you're in a stampede, never stop and pick up somebody. You might in fact get crushed and killed yourself. Don't try to pick up a kid once you see that the kid fall, unless you do it with groups or something. If you see somebody fall in a group and it's thousands of y'all, you notice a child falls, what it is, it tell the other people around you, y'all pick the kids up as a group. Never try to go down low and pick up a child, because you will get crushed to death. Once you're in a stampede and you notice people are falling, it's going to take groups of people to lift those people. That's a stampede. That's like going against a raging bull. You can get yourself killed. That's why you would need numbers of people. But yes, have common sense. That's all.